All right, I'm going to do the warm up here. Here we go. In the main method up here, write code to create a frog array named pond. So I'm going to do it right here. Frog array pond equals new frog array, and I want 10 frogs. Then here's the thing. It actually just creates 10 places for frogs. There are no frogs in there yet. So what you have to do is different from when you create a primitive array like of ints. It actually gives them all a default value. But when you do a reference or object array, you have to put the objects in there. So I'm going to go through the whole array and put a frog in each spot. So here we're going to say pond square bracket I equals new frog. That's how you create a frog. If you don't remember, here's the frog class. I wrote this condensed 10-line version of it. But here's the constructor, public frog. It sets the location to 0, and then you can hop a certain number of, you send an integer over when you hop, and it changes the location. You can get the location, and then when you print it out, it does a little, you'll see in a second. It does these things. All right, so here we're creating a frog, putting a frog in each spot. So just for kicks, I'm going to show you, if I print pond item 0 right here, we're going to get null. And then if after this loop, if I print pond 0, we're going to get like a frog at spot 0, like because it hasn't hopped at all. So we got null for this print because we haven't put valid frogs in each spot in the array. And then down here, we're printing a frog that hasn't moved, so that it's at location 0. Okay, so what's kind of neat is we can do everything in this one for loop. We don't have to write a bunch of different for loops. I want to hop each frog randomly. So pond I, that's the current frog, dot hop. And then in here, I'm going to say int math.random. And I want to go from 10 to 19. So that's a spread of 10. And then we're going to start at 10. All right, so that is going to hop each one. And now if we run this again, we're going to get, the first one won't be at 0 in because the lowest it can go is 10. So yeah, there we go. And then, so that takes care of hopping each frog a random distance and making the frogs print each frog. So we can print the frog now. System.out.println pond square bracket I, that prints the current frog. And then find and print the average frog location using the getLocation method. So to do that, we have to add up all the locations. So I'm going to make an integer variable before the for loop called locs for locations. I'm going to set it equal to 0. And then right here, I'm going to say locs plus equals pond I dot get location. That's how I get the location of the current frog, because this is the current frog. We're getting the location, adding it to locs. So, and then right here, I'm asking you to print the average. So we say average loc, and then plus. I want it as a double, 1.0 times locs divided by pond.length. Remember, an average you find by taking the sum of everything divided by how many there are. So let's see how that works out. There we go. And the average is about 15. Let's make sure we get a decimal. I mean, that was just randomly a whole number, but yeah, here we got 13.1. They all looked a little shorter. So there we go. That's that.